Yes, yes, yes. We're here. We're here. We're here. And we know that we have prompted you to finally reach out to us to be able to share a public message, but also to be able to find out what was going on with your physical body. You have suspicions, and yes, you know that you have been diligently uh, removing yourself from the cream, which did give you the frog in the throat that you would call it, the buildup of mucus and phlegm. And this is something different. This is an upgrade, and you keep thinking and trying to fill in for yourself what was the significance of this time for this upgrade. And you sort of feel like you're quite over it because you feel lethargic in some regards. Hmm, you didn't notice that. So we're telling you this, but it is about you slowing down. And we needed you to process the books thus far because we were wanting you to be able to understand the significance of the books. You already suspected they were important, and we wanted to inform you and highlight this to you again and again and again, the significance of all the information that is there. So we're slowing you down so you can appreciate the work that you have been able to bring onto and bestow others with. We understand that you are not seeking nor needing confirmation or gratitude, but we are saying, and we have been pointing out to you, where else could they have got this information today by someone personal today in their faces, triggering them to think and rethink about themselves, for themselves, to empower themselves? You are noticing you're not getting triggered by what you used to call the trolls. You see that they are entitled with their spirituality and yet have no true sense of awareness of what they are speaking about and how to approach. It disappoints you when you see people trying to avoid others who are in pain, who are suffering, who are struggling, who have been labeled then a narcissist, when those people are deeply sensitive to the ways of their world, deeply in pain. And when they reach out to their families, when they reach out to their friends, and what you call their narcissistic ways and tendencies, you judge them and shun them and you distance yourself. And we're seeing many people's advice is to run, avoid those who are in pain, avoid those who need your help, avoid those who are hurting. How could that be from a place of unconditional love and compassion for all? When you are telling others to avoid those who are in density, avoid those who are still in pain, avoid those who haven't advanced how you think you have advanced. You're not victims here to other people's struggles. You're here to be of service, to empower them, because you've already learned how to empower yourselves. And yet, when you're giving advice to others about avoiding the pain that other people are showing you to be able to help them, they can't help themselves. They're not projecting their problems onto you for you to truly deal with those issues and to fix them. They know they have to fix themselves, but they are reacting and reacting and reacting to show you their pain. So you could be sensitive and tempted to give them unconditional love. And yet we see many influencers of the spirituality world telling you to avoid them as if they have the plague, as if they have the herpes of society's illnesses and limited perspectives. And we are saying, this is not what you're here for. This is the part of the problem. That is not the solution. That is exclusion, not inclusion of all. And when you remember you are all one and want to love and empower each other as one, how could you do that by avoiding them and dodging them and criticizing them and giving them there's many things we could say here that you could be accidentally giving those who are still on their journey and stuck on their journey and in pain on their journey and showing you their pain, their perspectives, their hurts. Don't absorb that and react as if this is a personal attack or an assault on you. They're struggling with their own personal issues. Step back your ego and observe what is happening for them so you can support them without you taking it as a personal attack. They are doing something that is very sensitive to them. They're showing you their pain. They're showing you their rawness. They're showing you their hurt. Don't confuse the interaction. Don't confuse the conflict. Don't confuse the conversation. You're observing it front row center. You are the ambulance driver, and they are showing you where the train, their emotional train, has just run them over. Don't be afraid of that. Don't be afraid to still love them while they're hurting. Don't be afraid to love them while they're trying to hurt you, to show you, to convince you that they are hurting. They keep telling you they're hurting, and you keep judging them for that and distancing themselves from them. And they keep wanting you and needing you to show you, to convince you how much in pain they are feeling. And then you go on social media and bitch about them and complain about them and feel victim to them because of their problems. You're here to be empowering humanity. You're here to be unconditionally compassionate and loving to humanity in their pain, in their hurt, to let them know that they are not alone. This is important. And we see many of you watching others react and have explosive emotional ranges of reactions to the traumas and the dramas that 3D is so willing to offer to give you all. You don't want to step into that conflict. You don't want to be in the firing line of someone else's pain. But again, if you're witnessing and observing this interaction of pain and people trying to help and getting triggered, you can come in with your love and your wisdom and your perspectives to be able to diffuse, resolve, and give perspectives that maybe they hadn't considered before. It is simply your opinion, and you're all entitled to your opinions, just like you're all entitled to your emotions. And you get to choose your opinions and you get to choose your emotions. This is a free will planet, and that is basically the extent of all that your choices can give you in your mindsets, because everything else is already, as we say, predetermined, predestined, because you've already committed yourself to your life contract. For those lessons you haven't learned yet to empower yourself through, you'll be given them on repeat, on repeat, on repeat, on repeat, on repeat, until you notice you're not supposed to react. You're supposed to empower yourselves to be able to observe what others are showing you about them. Not always about what's going on for you. Do you know hurt people are oblivious to other people's ranges of emotions because they're so focused, hyper-focused on their own self, their own pain? And when you truly know you've empowered yourself, you're not focusing on your own pain because you have dealt with it, because you've self-soothed. You've empowered yourself. You're not reactive to anything anymore because you know and observe what's going on, and you know the choices. And when a hurt person's trying to hurt you to convince you that they are hurt, you can trust that they're hurt because you can see their behaviors, their choices to try to, what some say, gaslight you. And that is fine. They're showing you their insecurities. So why would you then match that with bringing out your own insecurities to play with? They can't fix your insecurities because they're too focused on their own insecurities. And so we almost want to say that the hurt people are blindly blind to other people's hurt, as they only can focus on themselves. And when you truly awaken, when you truly watch and observe all, you get to see the game of life that's unfolding and how humans will naturally react to when they are triggered. And they will throw a whole range of emotions, insecurities, jealousies, threatened, a whole bunch of labels of dense emotions that are very reactive because they don't have confidence in self. They don't respect and see all. They don't understand the way the world works in terms of you human bodies with advanced souls who have forgotten themselves, who are profoundly supported and guided by other dimensional beings who have all agreed to observe and witness and experience in all dimensions, earth, life, now. We are always watching. And while we're not judging you, we are always hoping and prompting you to step up and speak up and empower yourself through giving others teachable moments to be able to see new perspectives that they have never considered before. You're not inviting them to an argument, you're inviting them to be able to see a new perspective that has helped you along your journey. Speak for your own journey. Speak what has helped and empowered you. They can't deny that. When you talk about yourselves, people can hear it more than when you talk about themselves because they're so hurt and so reactive. They're scared to hear your criticism when they're so busy criticizing themselves. We wanted to talk to you about why it is that you can't sense the souls. You know that a human, and you even know, we want to refer this to animals. You know the animal has a soul, and you can feel that soul signature frequency as you can feel their physical bodies. It's a momentum. It's a you can sense their souls through the access of their physical bodies. This is tactile. You can physically touch them. You can feel them in more ways than you can have in your physical human senses. Your intuition can feel their frequency vibrations. Your soul can feel their signature frequency vibrations through their own vessels, being human or animal. And as you are playing and being consciously aware of being human yourselves, this is how you can connect and respond and sense others. So when they depart from that physical vessel, they then merge back into their higher frequency that they're usually comfortable in. This could be quite advanced. And so many people who are curious why they can't feel the ghost of their dogs, ghost of their grandmothers, because they think that a ghost would only be in the fourth dimension, so not so far away from them. It actually can be quite advanced further beyond. And so you can only sense their consciousness, which has quite a different energy frequency than when they were in a physical 3D body. And so you can only sense their consciousness, which is meaning you can't try to trust the physical human's hands to experience and touch others. You can't see them, you can't smell them, you can't hear them, but you can still sense their conscious minds, even though they are more vibrating at a higher frequency in a different dimension. They could still energetically be consciously there beside you in the third dimension, but it's a consciousness, it's a thought, it's a thinking consciousness. And so when you're trying to tune in and tap into that frequency, it is quite different from reaching out and giving them a squeeze, a pat, a shake, a handhold, a kiss. And so when you're physical, you rely so much on your physical senses to be able to sense into others. And this is why many of you are noticing exit points for others. So you can train yourself, start training yourself to sense them sense their consciousnesses, because you can very easily, when you shut down all the other senses, you're trying to reach out for them. You're longing to touch them again. You're longing to smell them again. You're longing to feel them again. But they are not physical anymore. And so you go deep within you to feel their consciousness. And it's a completely new skill set, because you're trying to train your finer intuition, your telepathy, your connections to other frequencies. You're trying to call home, and you're trying to use a specific number to call a specific soul to reach out and say, I love you, and I miss feeling your love. I miss looking at your eyes, and I miss holding you. And of course they're going to say, we know it sucks, but this is life. And we've done this before, and we'll do it again. This is the drama that gets played out when you're always, for eons, been right beside each other. The novelty factor of missing each other is so intriguing for the soul. And while a human could think this is sadistic and crazy and insane, why would an advanced soul want to feel this pain? We say it's a pain of missing someone because you love them. Love is not painful. And you only perceive the lack of love because you can't sense physically that they're there loving you, when they are, in fact, and always will be there right beside you, loving you. You think of them, and that calls their consciousness. You don't need to dial. You need to think. You need to feel. You need to sense. And that is them noticing you and your intentions to focus your frequency, energy, and your mindsets in their direction. And often when they suddenly feel like they've just popped into your minds, it's because they are calling you. They are watching you and thinking of you, and you are so connected with each other, you will call each other. And you may think, is this a butt dial? But it's not. It's all intentions. And so while you may not be able to fully recognize or understand or control your intentions here in the third dimension, it is very capable for you to do it in other realms. You're practicing remembering who you are and how you truly communicate and respond to other souls. And it is fine. You don't need to be in each other's pockets. You don't need to be holding each other's hands forever. You wanted to separate and have different experiences. You wanted to explore and come back together again and share, and come back together again and share. But it's the distance that gives you greater opportunities. And you are constantly seeking full different opportunities. And so you may go and explore a different planet, different ways of life, and love it so much you invite them to come back and play that game on that life. And it's hysterical because of the way you live and physically respond and identify and communicate and explore with others that way of life. And it's marvelous. And you do it with so many. Your soul families are gigantic in numbers. You just don't recognize all the ways that your soul family are here to love and support you and to trigger you. When we say that's the best way to find self-empowerment, is to be triggered, because you're strengthening yourself while you think that you're hurt and you're weak and you're broken and vulnerable. You will mend. You will overcome. You will seize the day and know you didn't like that experience, so how can you improve upon it? How can you stand up for yourself, and how can you protect yourself from being vulnerable to that experience again if you didn't like it? The lessons are boundless, and You are noticing so many lessons that you may not have picked up on the first few times that they were given to you as gifts. But as you explore more and more and more, you're noticing. You're noticing the game. You're noticing the play. You're noticing the lessons that come, tempt you to react, to see how you respond, to see how you emotionally react and respond, to see if this is still a game you're deeply focused in playing and exploring and being distracted with. Or are you showing us, your guides, your collectives, that you are wanting to graduate now? You are willing and ready to advance into a higher dimension with your mindsets because you are wanting to focus more on the higher perspectives. You're done with the range of emotions of playing with the emotions. And so are you being of service to others who are still struggling to identify and understand their emotions, their traumas, their hurt, their responses to what they think they're victims of? What are you doing with your time now that you've awoken? What are you doing to help humanity now that you're aware of the game that you have played? We see many of you who have got to that point who feel very impatient. And we're saying, if you're still here, there's still work for you to do. It may not be your own inner work, but there is people around you for you to support and empower because you said you would trigger them to grow. You said you would be awoken first to be able to activate others around you. You don't do that by telling them advanced information. You do that by loving them and empowering them to drop their insecurities, to empower themselves, to respect themselves. All of the positive ways to boost morally and compassionately someone's soul, to lift them up through this density, to recognize and identify where they're at. And while you may not want to tell them your observations of where they're at, use this as your key to guide them and support them. As we were saying prior, you can't feel our energies because many of you are still expecting that we're going to come knocking at your door, clean your rooms, cook you dinner, and tell you what you should be doing next. We don't do that for various reasons. And so when you're still seeking something like that to come and support you and help you, you are not empowering yourself to realize you can do this all for yourselves. And so many of you are not recognizing the significance of being physical amongst others who are still in pain and are still identifying suffering in this world. And so you need to support them all the best ways that you can, while accepting them in all of their levels of reactions and hurt and fear. They don't like for you to identify their emotions, so therefore invite them to explore what they're feeling with you. Be that curious friend. Be that curious friend who wants their friends to identify their own emotions, to empower themselves. You can disempower people by trying to give them too much information and perspectives that they haven't organically grown with and through. Be patient. Many are awakening extremely fast. And while you're still trying to disempower others with your wisdom and knowledge and impatientness, you may be missing the new friends that are coming regularly and constantly across your path to be able to empower them because they're at the level that you are at. And they're more capable of hearing new information at your perspectives than, say, some others who are still nurturing and hurting from their big traumas and their big pains. So step back emotionally, stop reacting and observing everyone's behaviors around you. You get to do you, you get to heal you get to empower you, and you get to love you. Be self-sufficient in all the ways you can. Because when you're not, you're still relying on other people to praise you and love you and give you attention. And this is distracting you and others. This is part of your spiritual maturity. And great advanced souls don't need to label themselves as great advanced souls. They know it, they feel it, they've got it. And they then become more of service. They're not trying to convince others of who they are. They just are. They just is. And we say, you all are. So show everyone your power and wisdom and perspectives that can help them and trigger them to grow. You're here for that. You're all here for each other. And so avoiding anything is not growth. And it will keep coming up to you again and again and again for you to achieve that lesson and understand it. And of course, we always recommend that you try to go within and feel us and sense us, because we're right there within you. So sense us, feel us, interpret those thoughts that suddenly appear as if they are your own thoughts. The more you practice this, the more you can drop your doubt and judgment and honor the connections that we have with each other. We've always been able to have connections with each other, but we did not press this upon thee because you're needing to focus on being human and all the range of experiences that offered. And so the perfect times will be more access available for you all. You can't skip ahead. There is much lessons along your path, and you're doing so well. You absolutely are all doing so well. But we know you don't seek that from us, that recognition and confirmation, because you know it, you feel it, you've got it, you get it. And so keep going. Enjoy the moments you have when you can just celebrate the physical life that you're living. It is significant, just like how you are significant. We say this with love and gratitude for all that you do, to be willing to be of service, to help yourselves and help humanity at this significant time. We honor that. Always. We honor that. We say this with so much love and appreciation for all that you do.